And we're unmuted. And before I even let Nick jump into this, I want people to start commenting. Can you have a better ending to a sitcom than there was for Friends? We were talking about how The Office ends, how Parks and Rec ends, how New Girl ends. Either. It's all bad. And I think there's been a few sitcoms who've done well. MASH. That was not there for it, but MASH was
only like 2 seasons.
No.
Really?
No,
MASH.
Am I way wrong about that? Changes.
Remind me how New Girl ends.
It ends with them like being together.
They got married.
They're like together.
They get the house. Nick finally moves out of the loft, right?
Yeah. They like Cece and Schmidt get a house.
Yeah.
And Nick and Jess like get married.
Yeah.
Parks and Rec does the same thing. Like everybody hates each other at the end, and then they bring it back.
But why can't they just have an ending where everyone hates each other and then they go live their own lives and maybe like someone gets foreclosed on?
Well, because that's
Seinfeld
real
got about as
life.
close to that as you can by going to jail.
I honestly don't remember the ending of Seinfeld.
They ended up in jail for the Good Samaritan law.
By the way,
help that guy.
That's a good bit.
Yeah. Episode 135. Interest rates are climbing. We have the highest interest rates we've seen since April of 2019. Ever since 2019, and. It's just reported that February new home sales were down 2%. So is real estate coming crashing down? We're going to get started right now. All right, episode 135. We are talking about the rising interest rates and, the reports that new home sales were down 2% in February. And look, I mean, the Fed has just announced that they're going to continue increasing Fed rate hikes. The stock market.
They're talking about 6 this year.
Yeah, 6. The stock market's not loving it. So are we seeing these cracks in the foundation as they're warning signs that we're in for a little bit of maybe some turbulent turbulent air, some rough waters.
Some rough air waters.
Turbulent waters?
I think
Did you know planes can't crash? They don't crash from turbulence.
This is something he just found out, and it changed his whole mindset around flying.
I used to always sit at the back of the plane because somebody told me once
they're going to be the last to go.
As long as as long as the people ahead of you are like a little bit higher than you elevation wise, the plane was doing its thing. And then I met Brian, and then I met his dad, who's a pilot, and I think I said some dumb shit around him, and I was like, you know what? I need to go understand the statistics when I talk about. So now I've found. So those of you who are scared of flying, it's just spatial awareness, guys. Yeah. Get a window seat every time. I don't care if it's the 6 a.m. flight. Leave that window up. Screw everybody else when they turn the lights down. I don't even care.
Yep.
As long as I can see where the ground and the sky is,
we're good.
We're good.
All right.
Yeah, bottom line is turbulence does not knock planes out of the
What's
sky.
the Ron have for us this week?
Hey, the Ron. By the way, Matthew Aguirre is watching this from the cruise ship, but now he just said he's out. He's got to go eat from the buffet.
From the buffet?
So, again.
Yeah, again. Go. That's where you go gain all the weights after you work out to get there and look good. So, hey, the Ron, right? One of our newest, our best sponsors, the Ron Theron, who is the one of the first off, he's a great dude, but
super good dude.
But he is a partner with the Armadillo Home Warranty Company, right? This is not your average dad's father's home warranty plan, right? This is what, I don't know if we could say this, right? Younger home buyers prefer Armadillo. I don't know. Are we allowed to say that?
Well, we just did.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, but
nothing wrong with being young. It's not your fault.
But yeah, I just didn't know if we're allowed to say that.
I hate young people.
Younger, yes, thank you.
So the home warranty company, I will say that
get off my lawn,
all buyers who love the digital enabled platform, so technology. So any home buyer who likes home warranties and they like tech and digital, they're going to like Armadillo. So go check out Armadillo, armadillo.one/tour, TORE. Tell them that the guys from the only real estate podcast worth listening to sent you. And go check out homewarddfw.com, the best property management company voted by these 3 people, plus Dana, who's in the back.
Yeah.
So 4 people have voted that it's the best property management company in Dallas.
I'll vote too. I'll vote too.
Oh, 5.
Okay, we got 5.
I'll
there we
vote
go.
too.
We're moving on up.
Reluctance.
Yeah. So
compliance, but
so look.
By the way, Elizabeth, Will, and Grace doesn't count because they brought the whole series back. So it has to actually be the end.
Did they?
Yeah. Like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think they brought
the whole series.
Yeah, they
or
did.
something.
They
Doesn't
did.
count.
It was like an
It
HBO
was like
special or something.
2017.
How does it not count?
They brought the whole series back.
But what
The
if they
whole?
brought back, New Girl, and they?
Then the
That
ending
show's not
wouldn't
worth
count
bringing
because it's
back.
not the
No,
end.
nobody would care.
No.
I'm just saying it has to end
Hmm.
to end. Anyway,
So-
interest rates are crazy.
Yeah. So one, I have a video that's going out, and I'm copying one of I think it's Christina Smallhorns, where she always talks about in the YouTube thumbnail, if you just have like a house on fire or something falling out of the sky, and like the charts that are going downwards, like it always helps with the thumbnail click. It could
People
always
love their doom and gloom.
They do, and it could be like you could just have that and still have the most upbeat video. Like, no, the real estate market isn't on fire because it's so great, but my thumbnail made it look like everything's really bad.
Dude, Luke and I watch Try Not to Laugh challenges, and he always gets sucked in by the thumbnail, and it
Yeah.
would just always be something extreme, right?
Yeah.
It's like the old Morton Salt of like some kid getting their freaking chones pulled up by a dog, or it's just some
That's
like
a Morton Salt commercial.
yeah, the old Morton Salt can. It's the little girl with the umbrella like running away, and like,
Oh,
whatever, right?
you're right.
It's like some stupid ass version of that, or it's like
thought that
some
was the
person that you
sunscreen.
don't want to see with limited amounts of clothes on in like a situation
Ash-
where like they're falling off a trike.
Yeah.
Asher and I
It's the most photocopied
get
shit
trapped into the slap contests.
Bro,
Have you watched
ever.
that?
Those
can't-
are.
I can't watch that stuff.
Can we
dude?
admit that those are not? They're not even slap. That is a
Dude,
like
you
heel
get
punch
heel of the
to
hand. It's not. I've watched so
jawline,
many people
dude.
get hit in the head. in
I'm
their lives,
going
I
to
can't
tell you,
watch that
I'm
stuff.
going to tell you, like these guys that do that, and then
She's
they,
not
Oh,
being
it's
chased
the old. It's not
It's
Morton
the
Salt. It's
sunscreen.
the old sunscreen.
She's not
Yeah.
being chased by a dog. It's the sunscreen one.
Yeah, when you guys don't know what happens off camera, all I do is just look up his screen, and Jesse actually brought up Molten Salt.
Yeah.
The girl's in the umbrella, but she's in a raincoat.
This
I'm
is
thinking
called
of the.
the
I'm thinking of.
Mandela
I'm
effect.
thinking of the. Yes, I'm thinking of the sunscreen.
I did just find out that Morton Salt has been around from 1889.
it's still the original salt too.
Chicago.
It's
Good
in my
to them,
cupboard
man.
right now.
Operating
Actually,
for
it's not. Brian knows this.
Next
Yeah.
time you guys are in Chicago, you need to try a shot of Malort.
That name of the. Just sometimes
Jesse,
you
pull
can
it up.
name something that sounds like a shoe.
It tastes like a shoe.
Oh, well then I'm out.
Malort Malort drink. There you go.
If anybody has had this,
It's the worst.
it's a Chicago icon. That's the first thing. I don't
Yeah.
even. The color of that is terrible.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
It tastes like rubber bands.
Look, go to the second question where it says,
Go to what
does
does
Malort
Malort
taste
smell like or
Oh.
taste like? Yeah, either way, do that. Pencil shavings and heartbreak.
Okay,
Is
okay.
the first thing.
Go to what does it smell like? Now I got to see what it smells
Smells like rubber bands for sure.
like.
There you go. Common burning garbage and Ricola.
Yeah. With a massive wall of alcohol.
All
right,
So this
all
is
right.
oh, it's smoky rubber.
Smoky
Look at
rubber.
this,
I
smoky
think
rubber.
it tastes like rubber bands.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So-
interest rates are crazy.
Let's talk about that. What effect do we think, not just here in the Dallas market, but as well and nationwide? Because I mean, even this morning, Brian, you're like, holy shit, rates are going higher.
Did you see the way they jumped yesterday?
like you quoted, you had one quote at 5% for a 30-year mortgage.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
which right now I'm seeing some at being quoted at 4.68.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
look, every lender and product is different.
30.
They're-
All right,
they're-
hold on. Look at this. 30-year fixed rates headed towards 5% at a fastest pace in decades, right? So, this definitely, in my opinion, I do think that this is going to have a very, it's going to impact the real estate
Absolutely.
market, not just here in Dallas, but all across the nation.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
So if you are in a marketplace that, like, let's take Houston, for example. I know that Houston is somewhat slower than the Dallas and Austin markets.
Yeah, a little bit.
So we have, these rates are nationwide. Those rates are going up. What does that do for the marketplace there? We start seeing more inventory go up. We start seeing, we start seeing less of those offers come in.
Yeah.
Multiple offers. Maybe you see more of those awful investor offers that you have to present, and
Right.
then they're just submitting just random crap out there.
yes.
Jesse had sent this foreclosures on the rise. And here's what to say about the housing market. So, we are doing our first short sale that I've done in
I thought this was crazy when you
6
said
to
this
7
is-
years.
Go, tell us as much as you can, I think, about this story.
Yeah. So, I need to see how long they've owned this house, but it is a divorce situation, which we are starting to see more and more divorce housing sales starting to pick up. So I if you're looking for some niches to go down, that divorce niche is definitely one of them if you can figure out how to crack that egg. But they got divorced. One person still lives in the house. They got behind. There's some liens on it that people weren't paying, so they slapped a lien on it from the other partner. So you can kind of read into what that is. And there's 2 liens actually on it. There's 2 mortgage liens, the first and the second. So when you start adding those 2 up, then they're immediately upside down. When you start slapping on the other liens, hopefully we can get those unattached from the property and maybe just attached to the.
So there
to
was
the person.
liens, but there was also some spite involved in this situation.
For sure.
Okay,
But
that's fair.
But what you have on this is a lot of times we're going to start seeing more and more people that are, if they have, they're just one step away from a wrong move.
Sure.
That they are now in a delinquent situation.
Okay.
Right. And you start pushing up interest rates. And
so let's back on that. Tell me about that. One step away from being in a delinquent situation, and I just want our listeners to be able to hear this, and for my own education as well. If I've already locked my mortgage and I can afford my payments at the interest rate that I already have locked in, under what premise am I one step away from a delinquent situation?
Well, if let's say that you bought the house and you're already stretching your budget a little bit.
Okay, and then the job market fades.
Or job market fades, or you get divorced, or you get separated, or you
like one life event.
Yes, like you get hospitalized, right?
Yeah.
So no one thinks about that stuff. The crazy thing is
if your debt to income was already really high and maxed out, you're like one life event away.
Absolutely.
Okay, and we're in a weird fucking decade apparently of life events.
Yeah.
For everybody.
So you've got so much going on, and I mean, let me see if I can pull it up really, really fast. Because look, most people they are still living on paycheck to paycheck, and it doesn't matter. So this is a CNBC. Yeah. This is a screenshot someone broke down. Here's a budget breakdown of a couple that makes $500,000 a year and still feels average, right? So. How to make $500,000 a year and still feel average. So, they're doing their 401 contributions. So after all their contributions,
how much money a year?
500.
Oh, geez.
So they're doing their 401k contributions. So both husband and wife, after 401 contributions, I don't know, 40% effective tax rate. After it, their net salary is $278,400. Then they have 2 children. So 2 children in daycare. Is $42,000 roughly, and I'm going to tell you right now that's pretty close to being spot on.
Yeah, dude, I
think that's true. Yeah,
I just got the thing for Luke's. Look at this right there on the shot.
Whoops,
we ain't even trying to hide it anymore.
Not supposed to do it.
Got BlackBerry today, folks.
Yeah.
Luke's summer care, $200 a week, which is actually honestly very affordable.
Dude, when you take into account like what a babysitter charges per hour,
it's essentially 11 hours a day.
Yeah, it's
like if I was to leave him there, he can get there at 7:30 and stay till 6:30.
That's $5 an hour.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah, so it's
that's really good.
I get that like when you factor in all this type of stuff, like I think the biggest issue with this interest rate stuff is going to be this weird flux that we're in between buyers' understanding of the new interest rates and trying to show them that it's still historically low and it's still a good time to buy and there's still advantages to make it in the market, right? And helping sellers understand that their leverage is depleting every single time the Fed opens their fucking mouth.
100%.
Right? Like
100%. And I do want to go back to this a second. This is a little buzzwordy, I think, because I do empathize with the people making $500,000 a year and still feeling average or whatever, which is subjective. But like, if you're making $500,000 a year and only contributing to your 401k, that's kind of you a little bit.
For sure.
Like,
Like, look,
what are we doing with the rest of our money?
Look,
What,
there's more to it, right?
it's
So
the worst way to
Let me
invest.
tell you,
food,
It's like the
food,
worst way
yeah,
to invest.
food
bro.
for four.
I can show you to waste some money.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
I bet
saying
it's a lot.
food for four is about $23,000 a year. Yeah, maybe right. Maybe
That's
it's
a couple grand a
higher.
month
Yeah,
for 4 people. I get it.
their mortgage about $60,000 a year. Home
Okay.
maintenance about $5,000.
Okay.
Property taxes on a $1.5 million home is $20,000. So they're definitely not living in Texas. 'Cause,
No.
1.5 million would be, what is it, 2.5%? So this
it
could
would be
be
about
about-
20-some thousand.
Well, 2.5 at 1.5
30,000.
30,000. Yeah, about 30.
Even.
Is it?
30 even.
I know friends that pay more than that. Then, so they're in a higher.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. So
Even all that
maybe they have
leaves
lots of
you
write-offs.
with 370,000 a year.
yeah, 3 vacations a year, which is, I think,
That's
still,
ambitious. I will
Yes.
tell you, that's look for a $500,000 income. It's not ambitious.
No, and it
But I'm
shouldn't be.
saying
we all
for the,
deserve to take time
the
off.
average American family isn't sniffing 3 planned vacations.
I would say
a
the
year.
average person, the average family who's still making $500,000 is not taking 3 vacations a year anyway.
No, because I would also say, like, here's also one of the traps of making money. Guess what? You feel like you can never leave and do anything, otherwise it will all break all the
Yeah.
time. And that's the reality of a lot of people make that money. If you're in the corporate world making $500,000 a year, you are probably working an exponentially large amount of hours. And if you're an entrepreneur who's doing that, you feel like the whole thing's going to crumble the second you walk away.
Yeah.
So I just don't even I think that's a lot even for people in that bracket because they're not going to find the time for it.
You're right.
Yeah. So
I guess most of the thing I wanted to focus on was just that their investment strategy seemed to be more focused on like the knockdown 401k thing rather than like anything else.
Oh, I was just having fun shitting on that budget.
No, we
Yeah.
can shit on people too. That's
Yeah.
super fun.
Yeah.
I just saying like I'm more talking about the mindset of
no, I
like
get what you're
you're
doing.
making $500,000 a year,
I
but your
think-
mindset is like, and I only invest in my 401k. And it's like, whoa, you make $500,000 a year. You got way more options for
But you
getting
do-
a
yes,
return on your money.
you
than
do,
that,
but most-
bro.
I know a lot of people that are doing 401k and only stocks are not buying real estate. So
For
they're
like
not.
6 months, people in
So-
the office have been complaining about how these chairs sink, and I'm finally experiencing
Yeah,
it myself.
Yeah, that was.
No.
I had that one.
Do you just
like
only get shorter?
Take it back to sitcoms.
Yeah.
There's an episode of The Office where they just want to get a
Where
new
the
printer
fuck-
or new chairs. And here's the thing is they were just trying to rally
So
everybody
true.
about how shitty the chairs are. And now what we've done is we've effectively put Brian in these shitty chairs. And now we're going to annoy him with them because guess what else?
Driving me
Our
nuts.
printer sucks.
Oh,
These are legit office
I will
issues.
say,
Y'all
have-
don't know how to clean print heads.
First of all, y'all have awful printers.
we have the most jank-ass
We've
printer.
got legit printers at our office. Like we got rid of the other one because it's $6,000 a year. So we
What are y'all
saved.
printing all day? It's digital. Most things are digital.
I still pay. I love taking paper.
Right. Nick prints out his MapQuest directions to his fucking listings
Yeah.
appointments.
Look, I'm still taking paper listing agreements.
I do take paper
Yeah,
listing agreements. I'm
absolutely.
just saying, how many of those are you printing every day? 3, 4?
Well,
Your
yeah,
printer
there's
should
so
be
many
able to
appointments I
handle
go on
that.
per day, so that sounds about right.
Yeah, all these
Yeah.
listeners. I just executed one today.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey!
yeah.
Stop it, Jenna. You jerks.
Yeah, so their budget on this average, supposedly, that CNBC is saying is they have about $7,300 left over a year. So if let's just say whatever that is, the thing that we know is right, dealing with
7,300 what left over a year? I'm sorry.
net,
Okay.
right? So what we know dealing with the general public and buyers and sellers is
I gotta know.
most
these
people
That's
are
bullshit.
have less than 2 months of worth of living expenses.
Yeah, those are
Yes,
stats. Yeah.
that is true.
So when you start factoring that now with interest rates going up, so we can tie this back into the original title of this. With interest rates going up, you're going to have more people that are stretching their budget even more. They
Yes.
have the down payment,
Yes.
right? So now their payments upticked a little bit, and they're hoping maybe rates drop a little bit that they could refinance, in 6 to 12 refinance.
You said that was like British all of a sudden?
Yeah.
He's
Whoa.
he's on every 3-week clip. He's just throwing out some and I'm starting to forget him. I got to start jotting them down. I didn't realize this
You'll
would be
have
a
to
bit we were doing.
Yeah, we need to have a board where you just
He said, and we were interviewing VAs today, and he said integral instead of integral.
Yes.
And I didn't want to laugh on the interview, but I was like,
I
don't think that's right.
might have said the same
Uh,
thing. Given
It's like a
was
lazy-
reading off
it's
of
like
his
a-
paper.
Both can work.
integral.
Yeah.
Right? So, look, you just go with it, and people always nod. They
Yeah.
never correct
You just commit to it so hard that
I do.
no one questions
Yeah.
it.
You're like,
which is
you
a
know,
big
that's
deal.
Like maybe
Sounds
I've been
right.
saying it
Yeah.
wrong.
Absolutely.
That's like that Dave Chappelle joke. He's like, you ever been followed by the police for so long? You're like, maybe I did do something.
But with interest rates going up, right, you will start seeing these people, with their budgets, and I think that the thought process is, and maybe loan officers are saying this, Mortgage Mike, could have a go to mortgagemikeoftexas.com.
Yeah, sorry for missing that plug earlier.
Yeah, so mortgagemikeoftexas.com, that he could answer this is maybe loan officers saying, look, get you in at this higher rate. Look, it sucks. Everyone's having to experience this, but we'll keep an eye on it after you buy this. And then the goal is to refinance you into that lower rate so that we can save you some money.
That's true.
But let's say that rates don't go. I mean, the question that Jesse had asked me before you guys showed up late.
We were here exactly when the show was supposed to start.
3:00.
Yeah.
I think it's like 3 or 4.
Do we think, Jesse was like, do you think rates will go to 6 this year? And I was like, I don't think they'll go that high yet.
That feels like there would have to be some other stuff that happens that just fuels some pretty aggressive actions, right? Like, I'm not saying they couldn't get there, and especially over the course of the not even 7 days, what we've seen happen, like it obviously seems super possible now.
Yeah.
I also remember when Brian told me Bitcoin was going to be $100,000 at the end of this year.
Last year.
Yeah, I should have sold. I think I should have sold. Everyone's like, everyone on the Bitcoin train, they're like, never sell. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this then?
I got $2,100. Here's what this show needs to get into. It's just mad investing advice. I got $2,100 just sitting in my TD Ameritrade account that I got nothing to do. It's not a bunch, but I'm just sitting there farting around with it.
I think you should cash out and
just take it back. Like, what day should I just buy a half a share of the S&P?
We should buy a haunted house. Those are great.
Can we get that for $2,100?
Just get out of town and go to a baseball game. Oh wait,
it's just an
I was talking to I wish I could go to that. I'm going to be in Park City though.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
I was talking to Kevin Brown. He bought a house in Wichita Falls for $5,000.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, it's doable.
So to get it back to this, Jesus, right? Like, I want to frame this conversation in the sense that we continue to talk so much in the short term about rates, and this is the wrong way to have the conversation. Even if rates do go to 6%, why is it a bad time to buy a house? And this is the thing that drives me crazy about the short-term thinking around the real estate market in general, is we think only in the past few months or whatever it is. Guys, 1970s rates oscillated between 7 and 10%. 1980s, it was 10 and 18%, right? 1990s, it was in the 70s, it was 7 and 11%. In the 90s, Jesse, 7 and 10%? Average mortgage rates in the 90s?
Yes.
7 to 10%, right? People still bought homes. And when I say that, what I'm trying to say, and where we're at, right? 2000, all the way literally up until 2004, we were at over 7%. In January of 2000, 8.24 was the average mortgage rate.
Y2K.
And people still bought houses. And what I mean by that is, if you are looking to grow your business and have some actionable advice here, there are some really great things that I want you to take into consideration, right?
Go back to that real quick, though. I'm listening to Brian.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm still talking.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, right? Like, I thought you were going to jump in. Right. Like, rates might be a little higher. If you look at just do the car dealership thing like Nick likes to do, right? You're talking about your monthly payment. Every interest rate bump by 1 point on a $500,000 house,
here's the conversation for your clients,
$200 a month or something like that, right?
Say that again.
Every 1% or 1 point bump in interest rates on a $500,000 house is going to bump you $200 a month. Is that about right? At a 20% down, we'll just use a stagnant.
Yeah.
Sure. It's about that much, right? Yeah. That is money out of your pocket. I get that, right? And when you talk about the idea of offsetting things like inflation, which vastly increase your cost of living, right? You spend a lot more money on gas on a monthly basis than you do on the extra interest on your mortgage, right?
Are people talking about gas right now?
I'm talking about everything.
Episode 134.
I'm talking about the conversations that you could have with. I'm talking about the conversations that you could have with your clients and have actionable advice around.
What about the Ukrainian war?
A lot.
Are they still talking about that?
I'm talking about the metaverse. I'm talking about everything. I got stuff for all this.
By the way, what I like what you're saying with this, but here's the thing that you're fighting,
like the
Brian.
Only actionable advice we're going to.
I understand that. No. We're going
to come back to
the thing that
Let's
we're
talk about
fighting.
1981 for a second.
The thing that we're fighting is that we've been at these under 5% rates for 12 years.
Yep. Exactly.
So
you're going to need to have fierce conversations.
Yes,
with your
because that is now like that is now the norm. This is like your parents or your grandparents like. back in my day, it was so much better. People were respectful, and the world was kind, and
Everybody
everyone
had a
was
Southern
nice.
accent.
Yes, but
And interest rates were 18%.
I have known
Yes.
Nick since February of 16, and that is the first accent. I've
Not a
ever
good
heard.
one. I know why we don't do accents with Nick a lot.
But that's the thing is like this is the under 5% rate that's the new normal rate. So when you say historically, this is still a low rate, no one gives a crap about that.
You're right. And what I'm trying to say is you're going to need to have to succeed in this new environment, because what I will say, with the way prices have increased, with where interest rates are going, with different economic factors that we're facing, with inflation, all that type of stuff, this is not a short-term thing. We will have higher rates probably for the next decade. We will go back to, we have this weird thing where we get used to life and we just think it can't be any other way. Historically, rates are super low. They will go back to being much higher than they are right now or were in the past, right? We will go back to an era of 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10% interest rates on mortgage, which are standard historically. So what I'm saying is, as a real estate professional, actionable advice is your ability to have fierce conversations around what higher rates mean for the market. And what right now that means is we live in North Texas. So this probably applies in a lot of ways nationally, but in North Texas, that means, what would you rather have? Your inability to even get in the mix on an offer because you have to come with $100,000 extra in cash and guarantee the appraisal, or interest rates jump 2 points and we go back to a flat pricing market where you have an ability to buyers and sellers trade assets at a price that is market value. There's not a shortage of inventory. Inventory goes up. We can trade at market asset prices, and interest rates are higher, which only bump you in the short term because you're borrowing at a little bit higher interest, but you're not going to live in that house to the life of the loan. So you're not taking a 6% interest rate out for 30 years. You're taking it out for 5 to 10 years that you live there. Your appreciation is going to go back to the national historic average, around 5% per year. But that 5% is going to be on the entire asset value, meaning 5% on $5,000 or $500,000 is $25,000 a year in equity, and your payment of 6% is only on the actual mortgage balance. That's better for you. I would rather not have to bring more cash to the table that is unrealized equity. And what I mean by unrealized equity is that you're paying that up front, hoping that every other motherfucker in the neighborhood gets that same valuation. You're paying for unrealized equity when you could just pay a higher rate for standardized, or not standardized, but market value equity. That's better. That's a fierce conversation to have with your buyers.
Or you just say what Elizabeth says: don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb.
And don't stretch your monthly budget.
Yeah, don't stretch your monthly budget all at once.
Is that
by
a fierce
paying an extra
conversation?
$50,000 in cash up front?
Yeah, it is a fierce conversation. I think the best part about it is, and really, what if you just took the last couple of minutes and listened to what Brian was talking about, like, he's really giving you the conversation to help calm your buyers, right? You have to help.
You know why
them.
it calms them? Because they zoned out.
And they just went to
and
sleep.
they're like, you know what? Whatever you say, Brian, we're going with him.
I will say,
Why is it when I say marginally insightful stuff, people go to sleep? I don't even think I was being that deep there.
Because you used the word asset like 3 times. No.
But
I agree with you.
You perk up on assets.
And if you're watching this show as a real estate agent, and not
everything
understanding this
perks up when I talk about assets.
Yeah, that's
you
a
can read
whole
into
other
that what you
conversation.
want.
The Ron, if you guys don't know what we're referencing, we'll give it away, is right though. Like his second question though, Jesse, is like,
that is called stagflation, and you're 100% right.
Yes, this is going to happen, and this sucks, right? There are going to be people whose income, because of the job that they work or the job that they have chosen, does not increase because it's not, for whatever reason, whether it's the company finding efficiencies that cost their employees money, or the value of that business is not adapting to COVID.
Yeah,
That's the other
I think
shitty
it's
thing.
economics across the board.
I think it's
you're right,
economics
yeah.
across the board, but the individual person is going to look at their personal income and say, I have been priced out of the majority of the markets that don't involve me driving an hour to get to work, right?
Here's what happens. You're 100% right. Here's what happens. And let me paint a really bleak picture of the future. The Ron, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. And I know we have a lot of these conversations when we meet for breakfast and stuff. Here's the alternate future. Wages stay the same as they have since about 2003. Asset prices continue to increase. at 18% a year, like they did last year, right? And then every single person who either doesn't own a home right now or didn't sell and maybe didn't buy at the right time tries to sell in 5 years after this run up. And then what happens is the market for buyers that have cash to bring to the table shrinks so much that anybody who bought now at an inflated sales price who's trying to sell in 5 years at the same sales price turns around and goes, there's no more buyers left to bring cash to the table and wages haven't risen. So the people that are left holding the bag are the people that bought right now, because everybody new that's entering the market has been paid the same amount at their job for the last 5 years. They can't pay the same price that we paid. And so all you've done is create this gap between the haves and have nots, where anybody who's buying assets right now is getting the advantage of the run up. But anybody who didn't is not only being left behind, they're actually affecting the asset holders right now who think they're getting a great deal because prices are going up, but there's not going to be a pool of buyers. There's not going to be a market. There's going to be a liquidity crisis because we're bringing too much liquidity into the market right now. If I'm paying $100,000 over asking price for a house right now, I'm bringing more liquidity in the market, and that liquidity is getting absorbed into that quote unquote asset. And that means it's not free cash flow. It's not available anymore.
It's like the game of hot potato.
There won't be buyers that have the same cash reserves available to pay these prices in the future if this many people put this much this much cash and liquidity into the market right now.
We need to have a top-down camera so you can see how often Brian hits that table.
I'm doing the Obama thing.
And then
back to the sitcom.
And then it picks it up on the microphone.
Back to the
like,
sitcoms when Jim is trying to keep it white in the office.
Yes.
And then
to give better speeches, and he said, "You must pound your fists."
I was thinking the exact same thing. That's also an office reference.
No, you're 100% correct that eventually it's look, you just make it a kids game, musical chairs.
Yes.
Eventually the music stops.
100% what it is.
And there's not enough chairs for people to sit in.
Yeah.
Right? Hot potato, someone's going to get left with holding the bag or the hot potato.
Yes.
Right?
Somebody's going to get left without a chair and a hot potato in their hands.
Oh, that's bad
and that's
news.
the worst game to play.
Yes. But there's some, we still have a little bit of time left. Right. So if you're going to buy,
if rates continue to rise, we have plenty of time.
Well, yes. Yes. And that is, and where buyers don't understand this, because look, who likes paying more? Nobody does.
Nobody does. And
but
that's what's something to keep in mind.
This has to happen.
You're already paying more if you're offering that much more over the asking price and guaranteeing it.
I'm gonna have a little hot sports opinion here. I do think that we need to have some regulations over corporations and hedge funds buying
this fucking communists.
Yes, buying up buying properties that will most likely never hit the market again, right? Because one, if you think about it, we only have a finite enough of land.
Yeah.
And unless builders are going to start picking up the building, building in the areas.
Doing much with a lot of their land. We could probably take some of that, though.
Yeah, they don't need it.
Maybe go south.
So I agree with you. Do you think that's not self-policing though with rent rates? You don't think they top out and then collapse if wages don't increase?
So they could. Now I meant to do some research on this today. I saw somebody was talking about that it's BlackRock, right? Is that one of the larger ones? BlackRock. And that company, this agent that was posting says that they own a lot in their area, and that company had like 78 rentals on the market for moving at the time, which in that area is a lot.
Yeah.
So yes, you will start having a oversaturation of those rentals, which will drive down pricing,
which will drive down rent rates, which will drive down cash flow, which will eventually lead to a liquidation. And
it could not.
Or
all they have to do is go to a restructuring of their debt.
That's what I think.
And
I don't understand the internals.
Because if they do that, here's what it does: it knocks out the mom and pop investors.
Yeah.
Because the mom and pop investors don't have the strong arm to do that. They're still going. They're either paying cash and buying onesies and having less than 5 to 10.
Yeah.
And they're going to their local credit unions or banks, and they're still paying prime plus.
I agree, and that's actually, if we're talking about And by the way, I'm not talking doom and gloom here. I actually think a little bit of a leveling out of the housing market is actually really good for the real estate industry. 100%. What I mean about the institutional buying is I think it's self-policing in the idea that, let's just say we went to an entirely rental society right now. Institutional buyers bought up everything, right? Well, then the institutional buyers, the rents that they can charge are entirely dependent on wage increases. And if the economy as it is, which is experiencing stagflation and wages haven't increased, they're not going to be able to continue to drive up rental rates. And so their cash flow is going to continue to decrease year over year. At some point, they're going to liquidate assets. And
they're going to do that or renegotiate debt. Because that's the...
I would say the debtors, yes, right. But yes, they would renegotiate debt and they would either kick the can down the road, which would be bad for everybody. I have a feeling at some point, with the margins that they work on, it's much like a hedge fund. It's better for them to liquidate non-performing assets than to renegotiate debt, because eventually that renegotiated debt will come up blank anyway.
The thought process is
that's something that would make it would be bad in the short term, but it would stabilize the housing market.
The projection is that that salaries for 2022, U.S. companies are expecting to increase salaries and give raises by about 3.4 to 3.5%, which is still not covering inflation.
It's not covering rent rates either.
No, it's not.
Or rental increases. And this is actually a great article from the Dallas Morning News. This is, I'm assuming, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but out-of-state buyers are not the problem with increased sales prices. It is institutional buyers. 22% or something like that. Institutional buyers, 1 out of every 5 houses, a little bit more than 1 out of every 5 houses is in the U.S. right now is being bought by an institutional buyer. 20% doesn't seem like a lot. It's a big chunk of the market.
But that's inventory. So that's not coming back on the market.
It's not coming back on the market, and it's pushing up the price of every other's asset.
Yeah.
Right.
No. Yes. So while you as a one-off homeowner who you're like, you know what, I'm ready to retire, or I'm moving out of state, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And it's selfish greed in the that everyone's going to take, right? Sure. So if you have a hedge fund, corporate institutional fund coming to buy your house, and they're giving you an easy way to get the most amount of money for your house, right? With no stress, cash, they're closing. 99.9, almost 100% of the time, someone's going to take that.
Yeah, what a weird market force, because you have this tug of war. You have rising interest rates, rising sale prices, and then you also have, the virtual buyers, call them whatever it is.
They're not real.
iBuyer programs that are offering you a little bit less than market value, but making it really convenient, which are actually almost dragging prices back down in a way. There's this weird tug of war in the market. I didn't even think about those two competing forces. Go back to that article real fast. What did Rogers have to say about it? I do want to see this. Dude, did you close it out? Okay, here it is. Roll back down. I think institutional buyers are a sleeper cell that most people are not thinking about whenever they think about the current real estate market. Roger Sealy, owner CEO, says migration from out of state is the biggest reason behind rising houses and shrinking inventory. That's wrong. Healy says many buyers see Dallas prices deal compared. Yeah, okay, so never mind. He's wrong about everything. We should have him on the show.
Rogers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ping, ping.
Yeah. Send him a message. Send.
It's not that it's a small fraction. It's not totally. People have been moving from California for a decade. It's not just picked up this year.
Yeah. I mean, look, we need inventory. We need inventory to pick up.
I want to go back to that. I want people to understand this, because this show, we have lots of friends nationwide. Our reach is like 1 degree of Kevin Bacon. So like, if you're watching, help us and like actually send this to your friends and share it out. But this is one of those things that might be what Roger said might make sense if we were just talking about the Dallas market and the people coming here. The inventory and the price increase is a nationwide issue, right? Like,
yes.
Like 19% last year, right? Like everybody from everywhere is not moving everywhere. So like that obviously can't be the issue.
It can't be
right?
the total truth.
If you want to just smush it down to Dallas, I work a lot of agent referrals. Elizabeth works a lot of agent referrals. Both of our teams work a ton of agent referrals, right? Like I could sit there and tell you where I see the majority of people coming from. I'm also smart enough to realize that this market isn't a reflect, like our DFW market is just a smaller little piece of the entire nationwide real estate market, and our inventory issues are not exclusive to our area, and they have nothing to do with people coming here. This. You said the other day the 2 years of the pandemic and the logistics and those types of things are showing up in inventory right now. The leading cause of inventory issues right now are new home starts.
Just the fact that we're acting like this is secular to North Texas and not really like this is CNBC reporting. This is nationwide, right?
Yes.
This isn't people just. Yes, that's a factor. North Texas is one of the relocation hubs in North America right now, and that is a small contributing factor to the overall premise of every other effect and factor that we're talking about.
This started back after the Great Recession, and the home builders never picked it back up.
This started after the dot-com bubble with quantitative easing and insanely low.
This started
interest
back
rates.
like in 1975.
Yes, this started before your mom was born.
Yeah.
Why is it that anytime I hear like a word in regards to finance or growth, it starts with "qua"?
Yeah.
I like bail out like quantum physics.
Yeah.
Everything else
Quantitative
is too easy. All the big
reasoning.
words start with Q.
It's just like as soon as you start with that weird ass sound, I'm like, shit's about to get.
You know what
real
doesn't start with
intelligent.
Q and it starts with A? Armadillo.
Dilla.
That's true.
Armadillo. Armadillo.1/tour. If you're looking for the best home warranty company with the best home warranty rep, the Ron.
Associated with the best real estate show.
Yeah, the Ron. So go to armadillo.1/tour. Again, this is for every home buyer who loves, we're not going to say younger home buyer. Like we've already talked about the beginning. Go watch the beginning of the show.
We already backed ourselves.
And if you love the digital enabled platform and transparent home warranty plan, which I love transparency home warranty plans.
I literally last night woke up out of a dead sleep and was like, holy shit, home warranties.
Wow.
Yeah, it was that on my mind.
You should have gone live.
Out of a dead sleep, I was like, home
I'm going to
warranties
tell
are
you
so
right now,
important.
I said this at a team meeting yesterday, we're in a weird market environment where both parties think they're the alpha, meaning the buyer thinks they're the alpha because they offered so much over asking price that they should get whatever they want during the repair negotiations. The seller thinks they're the alpha because they have the home that brought 50 offers, and so the buyer should do whatever they think. Having a great home warranty company is such a clutch move when you're negotiating repairs, all that type of stuff. Like your ability to say, hey, we will figure this out after the fact. We have Armadillo.1. We got Theron, the Ron.
Armadillo.1/tour.
There are some shit that we can overlook right now. If it comes back to bite us down the road, we've got people in our corner. There is nothing better than that right now.
Yep.
All of these types of things, there's other ones. There's a lot of ancillary stuff. There's backup offers that we talked about. They're all the ancillary pieces of a transaction that people don't take into account until the market gets maxed out like this. And home warranty is one of us. So check out the Ron. Check out Armadillo.1. It's the
/tour.
/tour. And I don't know what Jesse's fucking.
I like
So it's
16. I like 16.
Distracting me
Go
so
to 16.
fucking bad. What is 16?
Go to 16 because I want to hear Brian.
So
on this one.
hot. That's the thing is.
Oh, this is a good one.
Jesse, you got to share. So if we've decided at the end of every show, we're just going to ask ourselves a question, just riff on it. So like Jesse's got to figure out how to share the screen. Yeah. No, I'm done. So
Yeah.
here we go.
So
We're in the official time.
if you could become the master of one skill, is that what the question
That's
was?
what it was. What would it be?
Yeah.
Here's the thing is, I'll tell you right now, I want to fly. Like I do. I just want to fly. Like if you just tell me the skill just could be anything. It could be a mental skill, a
Can I ask you a
physical
question?
skill. I just want to fly.
Would you get tired flying, or
practical.
do you have unlimited?
No, I want to fly like Superman, where I just zoom. I'm just
Okay,
going.
that's a difference.
Yeah,
because I don't want to get tired.
flapping your arms.
Yeah, I don't want to get
Yeah.
tired.
But is that a
that'd
skill?
be exhausting.
I don't think
You go try and fucking fly and tell me if it's skill or not.
that's touche. God, you were so angry
So
about
we're
that.
coming
one,
up with a merch store. I don't know if you know this. We're gonna have some T-shirts with awesome quotes printed on them. That's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Mark it, Jesse.
You go fucking try to fly and tell me if it's skill. Love that.
Tour.
I'd call that a talent.
Yeah.
Here's the other one, though.
So
Here-
flying, just knock down. It's flying, no problem.
Yeah, just
That's it?
I know there's more practical shit, but flying seems like it'd be rad. It might also get boring really quick, like Top Golf. I don't know. I might be like over it so
Can
fast.
I ask you, at which speed would you fly? The same speed that you can run? Would you be faster? Would
I
it
would-
give you other advantages?
Assuming I cannot like change my actual body type, there's probably a speed that I would stop.
That's what I'm saying. Because
at.
if I can get to places faster, then that's
Oh,
practical. If I'm
Yeah.
flying at the
Just flying
same
around,
speed
just
that
kinda
I'm
boring.
running or walking, then it's really just a different viewpoint.
Think about
Maybe
how
I just want to see what rain looks like inside clouds, and I feel like if I could fly, I could
You
float
would
up
get
there
bored of
and
that
check it
after
out.
an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
After
but
one
like-
time, you're like,
could
man.
probably Google that.
Once you're up there and you already see it, like I should have picked.
I
a
know,
different
but then I
skill.
zip
Yeah,
around
'cause
like
it's probably
Aladdin and
super
Jasmine
wet.
did.
Yeah.
And I'd be
I
like,
feel like you would blow your load on that skill really
I
quick.
know it might be like Top Golf. Like I'd be so over it so fast.
Yeah.
But flying would be cool.
It would.
Or I've always wanted to see the world through a real artist's eyes. Like, because I don't see
You
like
gotta dive
there's
deeper on
okay,
that.
so there's shadows all over in this room, right? We got lighting that's creating shadows and all stuff.
Yeah.
I could never translate that to a piece of paper,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And so to be able to see the world in a sense where you could see the shading and the coloring and how like a green flows to a different kind of green, and like really be able to translate that to paper. Like I just wish I could see the world like that, because I feel like that would be such an amazing way to see the world.
But do you think artists see the world that way? Or do they see it like you?
Maybe they do, and then
Your
they just
skills
turn
should
it
be
on.
you should be able to do art. Or
Yeah.
that's a dumb thing.
Well,
to
yeah,
say,
but if I could
do
see
art.
if I could see
I
it, I
drive bus.
imagine
you're
my-
describing seeing the
I
whole
drive
world as a
bus.
cartoon, which I
Right.
think would be madly
it'd be kind of like
infuriating.
Roger Rabbit.
Yes.
Christopher Lloyd shows up and
Yeah.
starts fucking.
I don't think you want to see the world the way an
Can we
artist
embrace the
draws
fact
it.
that Christopher Lloyd might be the most sadistic person who's ever existed in movie history?
He's also
and Who
one
Framed
of the
Roger
most
Rabbit?
underrated actors of all time.
He took shoes that
Dude
just
gets-
wanted to jump around and put him in the dip.
He gets no love, and he's probably he should be a national treasure.
He is.
You know what I
He's
think? It
not.
really.
What is yours?
Your trait already is how you can just remember movies that
Only up to a certain point. It's
Do
like
you?
I
Just
stopped
mad
enjoying
trivia
things after
skills?
like 2000.
you and Heather have this trait of just remembering that stuff, and I'm like, how you just what is there a section of the brain that just stores like this part of the movie 35 minutes in I need to remember this part because I'm probably gonna have to
It's
reference
funny. There's
it.
actually a movie called Hudson Hawk with
Yes,
Bruce
with
Willis,
Bruce Willis.
where they
Yes.
rob shit and they
Yep.
base it all off their ability to time out songs, and they sing the songs.
Exactly.
When they rob the Louvre, they're like,
That is one of
Take
those
me to the
trash
moon.
movies.
"Oh,
that's
it's
so
Bruce
fun to
Willis's
watch.
worst movie."
Yeah.
Yes, that was before Moonlighting. Or
Man, he's
No,
done some-
it was
during-
after Moonlight.
during-
I think
oh
it
my
might have been
God,
after
just
Die
after.
Hard. In all
No,
seriousness,
Really?
I think it was. He had already made a name for himself with
Yeah.
just collecting checks.
Jesus. So what's yours? I got mine.
I want to hear yours.
Mine, I'm gonna tell you right now. This is because I already love. I think that any skill that would heighten you so far above other human beings would eventually run out because you can't fly with other people. So you
true.
get so bored. So my skill would be dumb. I
Gives a
already
shit
love.
my
I
flying
love
so
my
hard.
friends. I love my life. My skill would be like some weird thing that I just break out whenever I want. My skill would be like I could pole vault 65 feet in the air. And just anytime we're at a party and we're drunk,
But you can't fly.
and I'm like, I bet I could pole vault on that fucking roof right now. They're like, you can't. $100 you can't. I just break out a stick.
Brian's
I got
pole
one all
vault.
the time. My other skills, I always have a pole vault stick with me. What do they call it? Can you Google that? What are pole vault sticks called?
Poles.
The poles?
There's
I
gotta
always
be a
have a
pole.
pole with me.
The
I'll just
javelin
pole
pole?
vault over this entire hotel.
No,
Yeah,
javelin,
that's a
javelin,
javelin
you chuck
throw.
it.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
I would
Pole
just
vault.
I'd find a place to stick it in the ground and I would do it. And people would just be blown away. Because here's the thing: any skill that you have that no one else has,
I mean,
you can't
it
appreciate.
is called pole vault.
What? No,
Yeah.
you missed the
It's
thing. What is
called-
pole vaulting?
There you go.
Scroll
What
down.
kind of pole is best for pole vaulting?
But it's still a pole.
It's
Just
pole.
check it out.
Just
Let's
click
see
the
if maybe
button.
it's not even
It's
right.
the middle question on
Kick
people
the
also
middle question.
ask.
Pacer.
Pacer.
It's a
pole.
pacer
Is that a pole?
Oh, that might
Brand?
be a brand.
But it's
That might
still
be a
called a
brand.
pole.
Yeah.
It's still the pole.
Give me a pacer pole, the biggest
I
one
do
you
think it's
got.
funny that like
And I
I'm
can
an,
break
I'm
that
an
shit out
Essex
whenever
guy.
you want.
I'm
Guys,
not a
this is
pacer
I'll
such
guy.
an
jump over
insight.
anything.
That was so on brand for Brian. For the sport to be legitimately called pole vaulting, and Brian's like, "No, what the fuck did they call it?
Yeah.
It's called a
Yeah.
pole."
I'm just saying you can't have a skill that like you can't appreciate with other people. So I just do a bit.
I'm
Y'all
with
want to
it.
see me jump over something really high? Done.
You know what else is a bit? Flying way hard in your pole vaulting ass.
That's true. You got to do flybys and buzz the tower.
I,
That's
oh,
what you
dude, I
gotta
will
do.
maverick
Yeah.
the shit
Nick,
out of
we've
that.
come up with some dumb stuff.
Nick would be the guy spilling the coffee in his lap. He'd be the nerd in the tower getting coffee spilled on
I
him.
don't think
the
so.
pattern
Yeah.
is closed.
That's really offensive.
All right,
I'm
Yeah.
insulted.
It's not
I don't
true.
think you've
I'm
said
just
anything
saying.
that hurtful to him in your entire life.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
really mean it. I'm sorry.
You're making fun of my accents.
I don't want to fly, and I can't beat up a pit bull.
Yeah.
I definitely can't
I
be
retire
a
from the
pole.
show. I'm the
You
worst.
Definitely can't beat him.
Mine it would either be like I really want to be able to understand day trading really really well, like at a high level that I could just go in and just sit there. And
This
look
is
at
why
those-
the tower gets buzzed and your coffee gets spilled
no one
on you.
understands day trading.
No, there seems like there people are the
There's
people
like
that have the
6
skill,
people. There's like
right?
6
They can go look at that graph and they're like, oh, that's where the
Something's
where the
happening.
gap
on their
is.
6 screen.
This
Oh,
day.
arbitrage.
Or I want to have it where I always have the perfect thing to say, always when they're like, Nick, you're on. and it's always the most perfect thing, right?
Oh,
like
I
in a
got
movie.
that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Actually, we were at shout out to probably somebody who does not watch this show at all, but we were at KW Family Reunion, and Brian and I both. It was a Cody Gibson.
Yeah.
Like the second he walked on stage, you could tell it was a rehearsed.
Yeah.
Like his presentation was so dialed in, and he still was able to make it personal. It's like,
That is
Yeah.
true.
damn, I wish I could do
Can
that.
we actually
dude.
put this out there and young Jesse? Was like, how many Kevin Bacons are we away from Cody Gibson? Because I will tell you that I
think we're just
am
one.
rarely
Yeah.
impressed.
I would imagine you're just one.
I'm
I am
friends with
rarely
him on
impressed
Facebook. Isn't that
by-
Yeah,
right?
we're actually zero as a
All right.
group.
yeah, there
I'm
you
really
go.
impressed by the presentations, like in person. of
I
the
would
human
love to talk
beings.
to that dude on the show.
I appreciate them, but I'm really like blown away. That dude
Anybody have that guy's contact
can
info?
fucking talk.
Kevin
Yeah.
Cannon
He's
has it.
Great.
Yeah, his approach and the way
Yeah,
he
hit up
speaks was
Kevin.
just really nice.
That is, yeah, for sure. Anyway,
I'm sure Adam has it.
Adam probably has it too.
No, he definitely does.
Yeah.
I'm not-
Gary has it.
Gary definitely has it too. I'm not doing enough on
All
that
right.
part.
Look.
Interest rates are rising. The
Yeah.
world is coming.
Oh,
to
we're
an
doing
end.
this. Are we starting over?
Yes.
Oh,
All right.
we're back
Oh.
to the beginning. Okay.
Jesse,
Welcome to the show.
episode
Bro.
135.
Yeah,
exactly.
All right.
Some words from me.
Armadillo.1//or/tour. One of the slashes.
There's slash
both.
Because
Yeah,
the Ron
slash
says it's
it.
forward
Just do your
slash.
slash.
To me, it
Say
looks like a
forward
backslash.
slash.
Maybe it is a forward
Hold on,
slash.
let me.
Is
bring
it
that up
is
again.
it is it where is it where the
It is a
I
forward
think it's
slash.
where
Oh,
the
that's
top
a
is.
forward
is it where the top
slash.
is
It
or
took me a
where the
long
back
time
is?
to figure that out.
But
I
in,
think it's where the top is.
but if you're on the other side, that's a backslash.
Is
All
it
right.
the
It's a
direction the
backslash if
slash
you're on
is
the one
facing?
side.
if you're in
I
the
may have fucked
eastern
that up, I don't know.
hemisphere,
Yeah.
then the slash is backwards.
Theron.
It's like
Tell us.
toilets in Australia.
Yeah.
They
Theron
go
is
the
it.
opposite way.
Has any been to Australia? Do toilets really swirl backwards?
We should go.
Or is
to
that a bit like you could
Australia.
dig
I
to
wanna go to-
China?
You can't go to Australia right now, though.
I'm not
Oh,
going to
still
Australia.
fucking
That's
closed
so
off as
far.
shit.
dude. I'm
Elizabeth
not
says
flying.
maybe I already have the trait. She says I already have a response to everything and everyone. It just may not be perfect, but bitch has words.
That
uh,
Elizabeth, that's the most accurate thing that you
it
could have said
does.
today.
It's also
Seems
really
really
offensive.
specific.
Yeah, that's
so
aggressive.
offensive.
It does.
That's
Sounds
somebody
super good.
who's been working with you for 5 or 6 years right there. That's what that is. That's the curtain pulled back.
That's right.
What is the biggest spider that you would be comfortable touching you?
None.
I'm okay with all the spiders. Spiders.
No
don't-
way! You're not okay with
Have
all
you
the
seen those
spiders.
tarantulas?
Like
What-
okay, so like if we're talking like one as
Like
big as the one that
generic
Kevin
thing to
Bacon
ask.
or that Kevin McAllister puts on the guy's nose
Kevin Bacon.
in Home Alone, I'm okay with that.
Wouldn't that
No,
Like
you're
regular
okay with
furry
that?
butted tarantulas,
No.
I could
Oh
deal
my
with.
God.
No.
I
If you're talking about some of those like the Saudi Arabian scorpions that dudes like in
Jesus.
Desert Storm were showing, where like they were the size of their fucking forearm, no, I'm out.
How
Yeah.
much bigger is that than the Kevin Bacon?
Oh,
one?
here we go. Look,
the
look, look, look,
tarantulas are like solves the palm of your hand. Look at
In
these friggin'
Australia.
things,
Fuck.
dude.
Okay, can you Google what's the biggest Australian spider? I want to
Yeah.
see what
They have to
what's
be in
the
Australia.
No, click on that. Just click on
People
what
also
is the
ask.
biggest Australian
Oh,
spider.
that takes up the whole wall.
No, go down, Jesse. Go back to people.
I don't
always
even
ask.
ask no context.
The first question right there.
Yeah, that
I
one.
want to see the Goliath spider.
How much is
16
centimeters? I gotta do.
Hey
metric
Siri,
shit
how
now.
much is 16 centimeters? We're gonna do
Seems
this
like
live on the
a
show
lot.
right now.
Do we still have listeners?
Yeah,
probably
we still
not.
have
Everybody's
people.
probably bouncing.
I would
Thanks,
say that
y'all.
while we're
Well, of
looking
course,
this up.
Siri's giving me a circle.
Thanks for tuning in.
I'll do it.
No, she didn't even.
You
do
like
it.
Jesse?
Nigel, how much is 16?
We should be getting
Brian's
here?
trained his phone. Jesse
I
could
got
have.
it. I
Jesse
got
could
it.
have already
I got
done
it. I
that.
got it.
It's half a foot.
That is
That's
larger
like
than the
8
average
inches
male.
Big. That is
What?
larger than the average male.
It is.
Not this male, but
Google
the
it.
average male. That is
All
a
right.
big spider.
Yeah, that is.
I would say that we're ready to go.
Good
Yeah.
lord.
I think we're ready to go.
Why
What
don't
is it,
you
like
just-
My
10
answer
minutes
is
ago?
no spiders, by the
Yeah,
way.
I'm no spiders.
I know
I
Especially-
don't.
Would you fight a spider?
not a penis-sized one.
I don't think
Jesse,
No.
get us out.
I don't think I don't
Thanks for watching the show today. Make sure if you're watching this on Facebook, you head over to our group, the only real estate group worth being a part of, so you can watch the extended conversation. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you listen on the Apple Podcast, leave us a review. We'd really like it. So just do it. Do it. Do that over there. Go to this one. Then go to that one. Thanks.